Welcome back to ShubCode. Today is episode 1 of the Apex interview question series. Topic: Apex governor limits. Questions that trip everyone up. The questions interviewers use to separate junior devs from senior Apex engineers. These are the questions that real interviewers at top Salesforce firms ask. Let's go. Here are the questions we're answering today. Why do governor limits exist in Salesforce? Then, what happens when you exceed a limit? Then, SOQL in loop. Detected in a code review instantly. Then, DML limit versus record limit. The difference matters. Then, how do you handle limits in a real production scenario? Stay for the last one. It's the most important. This is the first Apex question in almost every Salesforce interview, and most candidates give a surface-level answer. They say something like, because it's a multi-tenant platform. That's correct, but it's not enough to stand out. Here's the complete answer. Salesforce runs on shared infrastructure where thousands of customers are executing code simultaneously, without limits. A single rogue Apex transaction could consume all available database connections, CPU cycles, and memory, starving out every other customer on that server. Governor limits are Salesforce's mechanism to guarantee fair resource access. They are not a weakness of the platform. They are what makes the platform stable at scale for 150,000 customers at once. That's the answer that makes an interviewer nod. This is a follow-up question that catches a lot of people off guard. They know limits exist, but they're fuzzy on what actually happens at runtime. The answer: Salesforce throws a runtime exception called LimitException. It's an uncatchable exception. You cannot put it in a try-catch block. When LimitException fires, the entire transaction rolls back. Every record created, updated, or deleted in that transaction is reversed. No partial commits. It's all or nothing. This is actually great for data integrity. You'll never end up with half-processed records because of a governor limit breach. But it also means you need to design your code to stay well under limits, not just under them at the last moment. This is a code review question, and it's excellent for identifying senior-level thinking. A junior developer catches SOQL in a loop by looking for a select statement literally inside a for loop. A senior developer catches 3 patterns. Pattern 1. Obvious. Select inside a for loop curly brace. Pattern 2. Subtle. A method call inside a loop, and that method internally does a SOQL query. You have to trace the call chain. Pattern 3. Even more subtle. A trigger calls a helper class method, which calls a service class method, which calls a repository class that has SOQL. The SOQL is 3 layers deep. During a code review, you need to think architecturally, not just scan line by line. This is a precision question, and the answer trips up a lot of developers who've been working with Salesforce for years without noticing the distinction. The DML statement limit is 150 per transaction. That means you can call insert, update, delete, upsert, up to 150 times total. Each individual DML call is one statement. The record limit is separate. It's 10,000 records per DML statement. So if you do one single update call with a list of 10,000 records, that's one DML statement but 10,000 records. You can do up to 150 such calls, totaling up to 10,000 records each, but the total records processed across the whole transaction can't exceed 10,000. 2 completely different governors, 2 different ways to get into trouble. This is the scenario-based question, and it's where experienced candidates shine. The answer has 3 parts. First, design defensively. Use bulkification patterns always. Never put SOQL or DML in loops. Use the limits class to check remaining limits before expensive operations. Second, use asynchronous Apex for large datasets. Batch Apex processes 200 records at a time in separate transactions, each with fresh governor limits. Queuable Apex chains jobs with interjob communication. Future methods offload single expensive operations to a separate async transaction. Third, monitor proactively. Use the Developer Console Query Plan tool. Set up limit monitoring in your CI pipeline, and log limits get queries and limits get DML statements to your monitoring tool at transaction boundaries. Quick recap before you go. Governor limits exist because Salesforce is multi-tenant, not because of architecture weakness. LimitException is uncatchable. The entire transaction rolls back. Check 3 patterns in code reviews: obvious, method hidden, and deep call. Chain SOQL in loops. DML statements, 150, and DML rows, 10,000, are 2 separate. Independent limits handle large volumes with batch Apex. Each batch gets fresh governor limits. These answers will set you apart in your next Salesforce interview. Like this video if it helped. It takes 2 seconds and helps the channel a lot. Next up, Episode 2, Apex Triggers, Order of Execution, Recursion Prevention, and the questions that trip senior devs. See you tomorrow.